Organization says 93% of Gazans now facing crisis levels of hunger. For more on the humanitarian situation, I spoke to Louise Waterridge, UNRWA's senior emergency officer in Gaza. Thank you for joining us. One aid agency chief told the BBC that he had witnessed what he called devastation and despair beyond belief on a recent visit to Gaza. What are you seeing there?
The devastation just doesn't end, whether it's the destruction of homes, the destruction of hospitals, people with nowhere to go. It's absolutely unbearable, and the Gaza Strip is completely unlivable after these 14 months of brutal war. There's not a corner that you can go to. There's not a space that you see that is neither safe nor able to host these families. You know, people are sheltering in makeshift shelters. They're terrified every day and every night of bombs and strikes that continue to fall. And there really is just nothing but exhaustion among the population. People are very tired. People are worn down. People are malnourished. Their children are malnourished. Not only have we got, the ongoing bombardments and the ongoing bombings to deal with and the daily survival, there's now long-term effects of this war that are the challenges for people. People are dying from long-term healthcare issues because there's simply no medical supplies and no functioning hospitals left in the Gaza Strip.
We've been hearing some optimistic signals about a potential ceasefire deal in Gaza. How is that being received where you are, and what do you think a deal would mean for the Palestinians living there?
I mean, there is a palpable sense of hope in the air. It's quite heavy. It's weighed with not only exhaustion, but also memory of past disappointments where these ceasefire deals have come so close and not manifested. But sure, there's desperate belief that maybe this time there will be a ceasefire agreement, and this relentless cycle of violence that continues to traumatize people here and continues to determine the daily lives of people here will come to an end. We need this violence to end. We need hostages to go home, and we need respite for the population. If you talk to anyone here, they will tell you the needs, which are absolutely endless of what people would need in the last 14 months. But every single person tells you they just want to go home. They want the war to be over and they want to go home. So it's a really difficult time at the moment, because while we encourage this any kind of hope that people might have for the war to end, people are also very aware that it could crumble like it has before, and it's a lot when there's only war and devastation around you. Any sign, any rumor of hope is enough to get the population joined and hoping for something together, because there's really nothing else to do here.
You mentioned there that people saying they want to go home, and obviously the vast majority of the population of the Gaza Strip has been displaced. If people are able to go home, is there a sense of what they might find when they do go home, and how would UNRWA be able to support people if they return home and there simply isn't anything left?
I mean, part of going home is actually mourning. A lot of people here, they still need to mourn and they still need to grieve. People you speak to, their families are still under the rubble. They've been missing family members for weeks, months, and some even over a year now. They haven't seen their family members. They want to return to buildings they were sheltering to see if they can find their family members. They can have some safety to do so and grieve these relatives, because they haven't had that luxury. Here in Gaza, it's considered a luxury to have mourned your family, or to know even that your family are dead or alive. When it comes to going home, we know that nearly 70% of buildings here are damaged or destroyed. There is not a lot to return to. And this is where UNRWA and other United Nations agencies and humanitarians here will come into even more effect than now, because we need to get supplies to people. If the population, 1.9 million people, are displaced, forcibly displaced in the course of this war, they need everything. There's no homes to return to. There's not running water. There's not food sources. People continue to need absolutely everything. And UNRWA is one of the only agencies on the ground who has the footprint and capacity to provide such a large quantity of aid to the population here. So if there was to be such a ceasefire, and even if there isn't, these humanitarian agencies on the ground will continue to do everything they can for the population here who desperately need everything.
And Louise, just briefly, if you don't mind, before I let you go, recently the Israeli parliament voted to ban UNRWA from operating inside Israel and also the occupied territories. Have you gotten any more clarity on that? And what would that kind of ban mean practically on the ground?
The instruction that we know of is that the ban would come into place after 90 days. That would be sometime near the end of January. To be quite frank, we don't know what tomorrow looks like. We really wake up every day and we awake to horrors. Sometimes UN schools are hitting strikes where families are sheltering, residential areas. Today, a hospital in the besieged north was attacked again. We have to deal with the situation here on a per hour basis. We simply don't have the luxury to even think about what the end of January looks like. It's a very long way from where we are now. But what we are doing is we're here. We continue to provide services. Our colleagues are working day and night. I mean, many of our colleagues, they are displaced themselves. They've lost everything. They've lost their homes. My colleagues, my friends, they've lost their family members. They've lost their homes. And they continue to be out every day doing what they can to provide support for their community. And that is what we will continue doing as long as we possibly can.